Hi friends, this is Bakapa. Welcome to API testing full course. You can access all the exercise which we have done in the whole API testing course. I have already provided this link in the video description. So anyone can access this link, and also you can get the whole collections and also the environment variable details. So you can take that URL which is there in the description of this below video and paste it in the web browser. And after that, so once it is opened, so you need to export this collections into the your local system. So it will open like this after accessing the link. So this is a public access URL which I have shared it. You can click on this booking API. You can see all the APIs are there inside the two folders. So what you can do is you can click on this three dots and you can export it. So you can click on this export, and firstly you can export this booking API collection, and after that on the right side you can select the booking API environment, and after that click on this icon and click on the edit. Then you can click on three dots and you can click on this export. So this will export the environment variable details. So after exporting it, so you will get these two files. And once you have these two files, you can go to the Postman and you can click on this import and make sure that you are there in this file tab, and you can click on choose files and you can select the firstly collection, that's the Postman collection, and you can open it, and after that you can click on import. So firstly you can load the Postman collection, and after that you can load the environment details. So as I have already these APIs in my system, I don't want to import it, and this is how you can get the exercise which we have done in the API testing full course. Hi friends, this is Bakapa. I will be creating a series of tutorials on API testing. In this first chapter of API testing tutorial, I will discuss what is Postman, what is API, and what are the different types of API we have, and we will discuss what are web services and its types. Then I will discuss how to install Postman. Then I will discuss what are the different softwares required for this entire course. Then I will discuss how to create collections and folders. Then we will discuss how to create the first API request in the Postman. Then finally, we will create the get request, post request, put request, and delete request. That is nothing but the CRUD operations. So let's discuss what is Postman first. Postman is a tool which is used by developers and testers to build the API, to modify the API, and to test the API. So that's all about the Postman. So now let's discuss what is API and what are the different types of API we have and how exactly this API works. So API stands for Application Programming Interface, and so these APIs are the mechanisms that enables any two software components to communicate each other by using the set of protocols and set of definitions. So any API contains the collection of functions and the procedures. So that's all about the API, and let's discuss how exactly this API works. So firstly, if you look at this diagram, we have the client application, but our system, that is nothing but our computer. From our computer, we can prepare the API request. After preparing the API request, we can send this API request to the server side. After sending the request to the server side, firstly connection will be established between the client application and the server. Then API request will be sent to the server side. So once the request is received by the server, it will process the request and it will send the API response back to the client application. So it can be the success response or it can be the failure response. So this is how exactly the API works. So let's discuss what are the different types of API we have. So we have four types of API. First one is private API. Second one is public API. Third one is partner API. Fourth one is composite API. So let's talk about each API one by one. The first API is private API. So these are the one type of APIs which is used within the any enterprise or the organization to perform the internal operation. So let's discuss second type of API, that is a public API. So these type of APIs are exposed to the public. So it can be used by anyone, and public APIs are sometimes cost associated, and also these public APIs can be this type of APIs can be requires some authentication or the some authorization. You may have to generate some tokens to use that particular API. And the third type of API is partner API. So basically, when two business to achieve any one business goal, one business has to talk to the another business. In those cases, we will be using the partner API, and the last type of API is composite API. So composite API is nothing but it is a combination of about three APIs. It can be private API plus public API, or it can be public API plus partner API. So it is a combination of two APIs. So that's all about the API now. Now let's discuss what are web services and what are the different types of web services we have. Web services are nothing but software package that is used to communicate between the two devices or the two software entities over the internet or over the network. We have two types of web services. First one is SOAP web services and second one is REST web services. In case of SOAP web services, so SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, and all the requests sent to the server in case of SOAP, which will be there in the XML format only, and every SOAP request contains root element, headers and the body. So that's all about the SOAP web services. So now let's talk about REST web services. REST stands for Representational State Transfer. It creates a connection by using the HTTP protocol or the HTTPS protocol, and it has multiple methods to create the resource, to read the resource details, to update the resource details by using the unique URL, and also we can delete the resource from the server. And every REST web services message can be sent in the different formats. It can be in the JSON file, text file, HTML file, or it can be in the XML file also. So this is a brief introduction on the web services. So now let's discuss what are the softwares required for this entire course. Firstly, we need the Postman. Then second software is Newman. So why we need Newman is when we are executing our API requests and tests from the command prompt. So we need the Newman. Newman is developed by using the nodejs. So that's the reason you will have to install the nodejs also. And also you have to install the npm, because it is a node package manager for the JavaScripts. Because all our JavaScripts which is there in the Postman, those function has to be executed by using the npm also. So that's the reason you need to install the npm also. And finally you need to install the Jenkins. So at the end of this course you will be learning how to execute all your API requests and tests from the Jenkins. So this is a sample request how we are sending an API request to the server side. So on the left side you can see the first section, and the right side we have the second section and the third section. In the first section we have the collection and followed by the folders, and inside the folders we have the API request created and saved inside the folders. So this is the brief about the collections and the folders and the requests. And next section we have the API details. So here whenever we are creating a new request, we have to select the type of request and we have to enter the URI. Then we have to enter the headers and body. So we have to enter the body, whatever the request body we want to send to the server side. and then you need to select the raw and the JSON. So here you can select any type of file. It can be the JSON, text file, HTML file, or XML file also. Then finally you can click on send. Then request will be sent to the server side. After server receive the request, and it will send back the request. After sending the, once we receive the response from the server side, so we will see this window. That is the third section you will see with the status code. Once we receive the response from the server, we will see this particular window, that is the section 3, and here you will see the status code, body, and headers. So this is a sample post request. So like this we have the different types of API request that we will be creating in a few minutes. So firstly, let's discuss how to install the Postman. Then we'll discuss which API we are using for this entire course, and we'll start creating all the API requests. So you can go to then here you can type download Postman. You can click on this first link, make sure that it is the official website of the postman.com. Then after going here, you can simply click on this particular button, that is a Windows 64-bit. So based on your system, automatically this will be appeared for you. Simply you can download it, and after downloading, so the setup will look like this. You can double click on this particular setup, and installation steps are very straightforward. You can go ahead and install it. If you face any issues, please let me know. And after installation is completed, you can click on the Windows, then you can type Postman. Then you should be able to see the Postman over here. You can open the Postman. So in my case, I have already installed and opened the Postman here. After opening the Postman, and on the top right side, you will see the login and the create account. So already I have already logged into the Postman tool. So you can create the new account and then you can sign in, or else you can use your Gmail account for signing into the Postman. So this is all about the how to download and install the Postman and how you can sign in into the Postman tool. So let's start creating the collections and folders. So why we are creating the collections and folders is we can organize our API requests properly. So that is the main intention behind creating the collections, and inside the collections we are going to create the multiple folders. So let's start creating the collection first. Then I will discuss which API we are going to use for this entire course. So you can directly go ahead and click on this plus icon. So it is showing create new collection, or you can click on this create collection. So I am clicking on this plus icon. So here you can specify the collection name. So we are using the booking API, so that's the reason I'm specifying the collection name as booking API. So that's it. So inside this booking API, I'm going to create the two folders. You can select this particular collection and you can click on three dots, and here you can select the add folder option, and you can specify the name of the folder as, first I will create the positive API requests. So that's the reason here I'm specifying positive endpoints. That's it. So similarly, I will add one more folder called negative scenario. Here I will give the folder name as negative scenarios. So that's it. We are done with creating the collections and then folders. Now let's discuss the API which we are going to use it for this entire course. You can go to this URL. So don't worry about this URL. I will provide this URL in the video description. You can find it there. So this is a booking API. While creating a resource, we will be passing the first name, last name, total price, deposit paid, booking dates, check-in, and checkout. And at last we have the additional needs. So this is a simple booking API where we can provide all the details, and at the end it will return us the booking ID. So let's go to the Postman. We will create the first get request in the Postman now. So that will returns all the booking IDs from the server. So you can select the folder positive endpoints, and you can click on this plus icon, and here you can mention the type of request. So we are using the get request so that we can read all the booking IDs from the server. So here we have to specify the URI. So here I'm entering https colon 2 forward slash followed by restful hyphen booker dot heroku app.com slash booking. So this URI returns me the all the booking IDs from the server. So before I click on this send, I will save the request into this particular folder, that is the inside this particular collection, and inside this particular folder I need to save the request. So you can click on this arrow and you can select the save as, and here you can specify the request name. So here I'm specifying the request name as get booking IDs. So this API returns all the booking IDs basically. Then here you can select the collection. So currently we have the only one collection, so that's the reason by default it is displayed the booking API. If there are multiple collections in your Postman, here in this particular window you'll be seeing all those collections. So here I'm selecting the collection. Then inside this particular collection we have created the two folders. I want to save this particular request inside the positive endpoints. I have selected the folder, that's it, and you can save it. So we have created the get request which will returns the all the booking IDs. So let's click on the send. So let us look at the exactly the which URL we have used, whether URL is properly or not. So let me just add the over here. So that's it. I have saved the API request now. Then I will click on send. So if you look at this response, we got the 200 status code, and also we got the response body and response headers also we got it. And if you look at this response body, we have the multiple booking IDs. Sorry. So here you can see all the booking IDs over here. And on the right side you will see the time. So this is a 2.13 seconds. This is the total time taken by the server to respond to this particular request. And next we have the size. So this is a combination of response body and the response headers. So if I mouse hover on this particular size, it will display all the details. So body has the 79.13 KB and response headers has a 250 bytes. So by combining that, so total it has become the 79.37. So that's all about the get API. So let's start creating the another get request which will returns the booking details of that particular booking ID. So now I will simply select this particular API. I will create the get request only. Only thing is this API returns us all the booking IDs. I want to read the details of that particular booking ID by using the booking ID. So I will select this API and I will click on this particular three dots and I will say duplicate. So I will rename this particular API request by clicking on three dots, and here I will select the rename. So I will specify the request name as get booking details. So this particular API will returns the any booking details by taking the ID as a parameter. So after the booking I will use the same URL and the same request type, and after that I will specify the ID. So let us go to our get booking IDs and let's copy the one of the booking ID, and I will go back to the get booking details and I will specify the booking ID and I will click on send. So this will returns me the Details: first name, last name, total price, deposit paid, booking dates. Within that we have the check-in date, checkout date, and at last we have the additional needs. So first API returns all the booking IDs, and second get request, which will return the specific resource details. So far you have seen how to use the get method. So now let's use the post method. By using the post method, you will create the resource in the server. So I will select the PostGT endpoints folder and I will click on three dots and I will select the add request. Here I'll specify the request name as create booking. Then I will select the request type as post. So here I'm creating the resource in the server, so that's the reason I have selected the post method. So here I'm specifying the URL. So we will use the same URL, that is https:// followed by the restful booker.herokuapp.com, then followed by booking. So this is about the type of request. To create the resource in the server, we need to select the type of request as a post, then the URI we have to add it, then we need to add the headers. So here you can add the content type as application/JSON. So that's it. You can come back to the body. Here you can select the raw, and here you can select the JSON. Even you can send the different format of the data. It can be text file, HTML format, or even XML format also. We can send the data to the server. So in our case, we are using the only JSON file. So here we have to specify the JSON request body. I will go back to the get booking details and simply I'll copy this whole JSON object, then I'll paste it in the body. So that's it. Here I'll specify the first name as testers and last name as top. That's it. So we have the post request ready. So after clicking on this send, it is going to return us the booking ID. By using that booking ID, we can check the details are properly stored in the server or not. We can check it. So I will click on this send now. So if you look at the response now, we got the 200 status code and we got the booking ID. So let us check this resources is properly created or not. I'll copy this booking ID. I will go to the get booking details. So this particular API returns us the any booking details by taking the parameter as the booking ID, right? So simply I'll paste the booking ID here in the URL and I will click on send. And if you look at this response, server response, we have the first name as testers, last name as top, and rest of the details I have not updated it, so it is as is. So you have seen how to create the get request and post request. So let us try to update the details which is there in the server by using the put request. To update the any resource in the server, especially for this booking API, we need to use the one token. So let us generate the token first, then we can use the put request. By using the put request, we can update the resources in the server. So I will create the one API request. I'll specify the name of the request as token generator. Then I'll select the type of request as post, and here I'll enter the URL. So I will use the same URL, and instead of booking I will say auth auth. Then I'll specify the header as content type as application/JSON. That's it. And we have to specify the request body for this, for generating the token. By using that token, we can update the resource in the server, and also we can delete the resource in the server. So I'll select the JSON here then I'll specify the JSON object here. So here I'm specifying the two attributes. That is, first one is the username and second one is the password. So here I'm specifying the first attribute as username, and I'm specifying the username as admin, and second one is password as the attribute name. So all these details are there in the API. Just now whatever the API I have shown before starting this particular practical session. So you can go to this particular website, and you can find all the API details over here. So simply I'm specifying this username as admin and password as a password123 in the JSON object, and this particular API will returns the token ID. So by using that token ID we can update the data in the server, or we can delete the data from the server. So here I'm specifying the password as password123. So that's it. I have saved the API request, then I'll send it. So at the end it is returning me the 200 status code, and we are getting the token number. By using this token number we can update the resource. So let's create the another put request. By using that we can update the booking details. So currently we have this particular booking ID created. So it has some details. Let's create the one more. So this is the booking ID. So it is returning all the details perfectly fine. So we will try to update the first name and last name, and we'll see. So let me add the put request now. So I'll specify the request name as update booking. So that's it. Then I will select the request type as put. If you want to update anything in that particular resource in the server, so you need to use the put request. By using the put request you can update the details of the any API. So here I'm specifying the same URL, that is the restful-booker.herokuapp.com and followed by booking. In the headers I will specify the content type as application/JSON, and I will add the one cookie attribute. So that's it. In the value, so I am passing the token number over here. So just now we have discussed the one token generator API, which will generate the which will generate the token number. So by taking this token number, we can pass this particular token number in the update API, so that we can update that particular resource in the server. So if you look at this URL, so still we have not passed the booking ID. So here we have to mention which booking ID we wanted to update the resource details. So that we have to mention by specifying the /. So right now I'll specify 123. Later we can add the exact booking ID over there. So that's it. We have specified the request type, and we have added the URL. Then we have added the header. Then we have to specify the body. So same request body I will keep it here, whichever we are using it in the while creating the resource in the server. So this is the update API. So here I'll specify the first name as specflow and last name as selenium C#. So that's it. So let us start creating the resource first, then we'll update the resource, and finally we'll check whether properly resource details is getting updated in the server or not. So I will use the create booking API, and I will create the booking ID now by using the create booking API. So I got the booking ID here. I will take this booking ID. I will go to the booking details, get booking details, and I'll check my booking details are there in the server or not. So we have the details in the server. So now I will quickly generate the token now. I'll copy this particular token and I will go to the update booking API and I'll paste it inside the header. So that's it. Now here we have to pass the booking ID, right? So I'll go to the again get booking details. I'll copy this particular booking ID and I'll paste it here. So now I will execute the update booking API. So if you look at this one, so we got the 200 as the response code, and finally it is returning all the details, right? So let us hit the get booking details API. We should be able to see the first name as the spec flow, last name as the Selenium C#. So if you look at here, so we got the 200 status code and also first name and last name got updated here. So this is how you can update the resource details in the server by using the put request. So next is a delete request. Let us discuss how to delete the any resource in the server. So let's add the one more request. Similarly, how we have added a put request, I will click on this particular three dots from the folder level and I will select the add request and I will specify the name of the request as delete booking. So here request type I will select as delete. So this is going to delete the resource from the server. So I will use the same URL and whatever the URL we are using it for the update. So this is the same URL. You might be seeing the same URL, right? So restful booker.herokuapp.com, then followed by booking. Then we are specifying the, so here we have to say which booking ID you want to delete it, right? So we have to specify the booking ID over here. And let's add the headers. So same headers we have to add it, whichever we have added into the put API for updating the resource in the server. So here you can add the content type as the application / JSON. Then I'll add the one more attribute, that is cookies data, and here I'll specify the token equal to some value. That's it. So no need to specify the body here because we are going to directly delete this particular booking ID, right? So let us start creating the new resource, then we'll update it, then finally we'll be deleting that particular resource. So I will go to this create booking. I will create the new resource in the server now. So we got the booking ID now. I'll copy this booking ID and I'll check this booking ID details are exist or not in the server. We have this details in the server. Now we will update this particular booking ID now. So for updating we have to generate the token. So here I'm generating the token now. I'll copy this token. I will go to this update booking API and I'll paste the token now, and that's it. So I will not update anything here. So we have already updated the few details, first name and last name. We should be able to see these two changes in the get booking details API. So just let me check out like what is the issue over here now. So let me create another request now. So we got the booking ID now. I will check whether booking details are present or not in the server. So we have the booking details present in the server. I will go to the update booking API. I'll add the booking ID here. Then I will quickly generate the token. So I'll copy this particular token now. I'll go to the update booking. I'll paste it here. Then I will send it. So we got the success status code and all the details got updated. We will check quickly get booking details. So details got updated properly. So let's perform the delete operation also. So we have to specify the only booking ID and the token. So here I'll specify the token and I will copy this particular booking ID. I'll come to the delete booking and I'll specify it here. So that's it. So here we are seeing the 201 created. For the update, so we are seeing the 200 response code, status code, sorry. And for the delete request, we are seeing the 201 created. So that means that particular resource got successfully deleted. So we will go to the get booking details API and we'll verify whether that particular booking details are present or not in the server. So obviously those details will be not present, right? Because we have deleted by using the delete request type. So that's all I have in this session. So I will be covering a lot in the next API testing tutorial. So we will see how to create the negative scenarios and how to use the environment variables and how to create the automatic tests and how to pass the parameter from one request to the another request. So many more things I'll be discussing, and click on like and also subscribe to this particular channel. And if you are having any questions or any issues, you can comment in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Hi friends, this is Bakappa. So far you have seen how to perform CRUD operation in A/B testing. That is nothing but how to create a get API request, put API request, post API request, and delete API request. In this chapter 2 API testing tutorial, I will discuss firstly negative scenarios. With respect to this, we will create a few negative API requests in the Postman. Then I will discuss how to declare and use environment variables. Then we will see how to save the response of any API in the variable so that we can use that particular variable value in the further APIs. Then I will discuss how to use the Postman console for debugging any issues in the API. Then we'll start creating the automatic API tests in the Postman. Then finally we will assert status code response body contains any specified string. Then I will discuss how to assert the response header. Then finally I will discuss how to assert the response time. So let's start discussing the negative scenarios. With respect to that, we will create a couple of negative API requests to the Postman. The first scenario is record not found. When we are requesting a record which is not there in the server, we will get the record not found with the 404 status code. And the second scenario is when we are passing invalid characters in the request body. So that time we will get the 400 error with the bad request. And the third scenario we have is when we are passing many characters. For example, there is a one field as a mobile number. So we have to pass the only 10 digits. If we are passing the more than the 10 digits, so definitely server will not accept it. So in that case also we'll get the 400 status code with the bad request. And the fourth scenario we have is we are sending API request with the missing information. For example, that particular API request body should contain all the fields. For example, that contains the first name, last name, date of birth. If you are not sending any one of those field, so we will get the bad request error with the 400. And fifth scenario we have is we have to send the data in a proper format. For example, date format is there. So in that particular field, we have to pass it properly. Let's say, for example, first month, then date, then year. So we have to pass the data in the required format. So otherwise, we will get the 400 error with the bad request. So let us go to our Postman and we'll implement the few negative API requests. So here what I will do, I'll go to the negative scenarios folder, and the first scenario I will create by using the get booking details. I'll simply duplicate this particular API request and then I will drag this copy of the get request into the negative scenarios folder. Then I will rename this scenario as, sorry, request as get booking details invalid ID. So in this API, we are passing the invalid booking ID so that we will get the 404 error with the not found. So that's it. So here I will pass any of the number, some random number. So that's it. Then I will send it. So if you look at here, so we are getting the 404 error with the not found. So this is one of the negative scenario by using the get request. So similarly, we will use the post request. Sorry. Then I will duplicate this request. So in this post request, what we will do, we will pass the invalid characters for one of the field so that it will fail with the bad request. Simply I will drag this particular request into the negative scenarios folder. Then I will rename this request with invalid characters. So I'll say cas. So that's it. So I'll go to the request body now, and here for the total price, I will pass some special characters. So right now there are some numeric values are present. So I will replace this with the special characters so that our request will fail. So that's it. Only one field value I have updated with the invalid characters. That's it. Then I will send it. So if you look at here, so this particular API is failing. So we got the response from the server with the 400 and the bad request. So this is how you can create the negative API requests. So for example, you can pass here for example, if there is any restriction, first name should contains the 10 characters. So in that case, you can pass the 10 characters or more than 10 characters, and also you can enter the special characters in that particular field. And also you can specify the spaces in between the strings and check it. So these are the other set of negative scenarios which you can test it if this particular API is implemented with the proper restrictions for the fields. So that's all about the negative scenario creation in the negative scenarios folder. So now let's discuss how to declare and use the environment variables. So I will go to the post request, that is a create booking. So here we are passing the first name as a testers and last name as a top. So I will pass this first name from the environment variables. So what I will do, simply I will go on the right side top corner. Then I will click on this particular icon. So then I will say add. Here we can specify the environment name. So here I'm giving a booking API. So that's it. Then here you can specify the variable name and the respective value. You can specify it on the initial value column. So here I'm specifying the f name, that is nothing but first name. Then I will specify the value as a testers. That's it. So let's use this particular variable in the create booking API, and we'll get the value from the environment variable. Then we'll create the booking, right? So we have created the variable and we have specified the value. Now let's see how to use that particular variable in your API requests. So here I'm selecting this particular string, then I'm entering two curly braces, and inside this you need to specify the variable name. So in our case we have given the variable name as f name, that is nothing but first name. So simply I'll save this particular environment details, then I'll close it. So make sure that after adding the environment variables, so you are selecting this particular environment name over here. So if you are selecting the environment details, that is nothing but the environment which you have created, where you have specified all the variables and respective values. So after selecting this particular environment only, you will be able to read the respective value by using the variable. So this is how you can read the value from the environment details, right? So I have specified the variable name and I have selected the environment here, so that I will get this particular f name as a testers in this particular first name, so that I can create my resource in the server. So let's start creating the resource in the server. If you look at this one, so we got the 200 status code, and also booking ID got created here. And if I can check this particular booking ID by using the get booking details, so we got the response successfully, right? So if you look at this status code, we got the 200, and also first name we got the testers, right? So this is how you can set the variable value, and you can read that particular variable in the API request. So let's add the last name also. So I will go to the environment variable, and here I'll add the, so before I go ahead and add it, so you need to click on this edit, so that you can include as many as variables you want. So here I'm adding another variable as L name. So here I'm adding the last name as top. So that's it. You can save it. And let's go to the create booking API. So similarly, I'll enter the two curly braces, and inside that I can specify the L name, so that particular value will be read from the environment variables. So that's it. So this is how you can read the value from the environment variables. So let's create the resource in the server. So this got successfully created. Let's verify the details, going to the get booking details. So here you go. So we got the 200 status code, and also first name is a testers, and last name is a top. So this is working fine. So this is how we can automate. This is how we can parameterize. You can specify you can create the variable, and you can specify the value, and you can read that particular variable wherever you want in your API request. Now I will discuss how to save the any API response in the variable, so that we can use the value of that particular variable in the other APIs in the request body or in the request URL. So we have the create booking API. So this will returns with the booking ID. So let me hit the send button now. So after creating the booking, so we are getting the booking ID here. So by using this booking ID, we are checking the details in the get API by passing the booking ID or in the URL. Also we are using in the update booking API. So we are going to update the booking details. Also we are using that booking ID in the delete booking for deleting the resource from the server, right? So let's go to our create booking API. So firstly, we have to save this particular value, booking ID value, in the variable. Then we will use that particular variable in the get booking details, update booking, and delete booking. So what I will do here, I will go to this test tab. So here we have to write simple 2 lines of JavaScript code that will programmatically create the variable, and also it will set the value. So on the right side, you can go down and you can select the option as set an environment variable. So that's it. And after that, what you need to do is you need to use the pm dot. So this particular object contains current API request and the response. So that's the reason I'm using the pm dot response. So we want to save this particular API response data into the variable. So that's the reason I'm calling to the response. After that, I will convert this API response into the JSON object. Then I will assign back to the variable called JSON data. So that's it. So by using this particular JSON object, we can read this particular value, that is a booking ID value, right? So here I'll specify the JSON data object, that is a JSON object, and after that I will specify the key. So by using this particular key, we can access the respective value, and after that here we can enter the variable name. I will specify b underscore id, so that is nothing but booking ID. So that's it. So currently, if you look at this environment variables, we have only two variables. That is a f name, that is nothing but f first name, and we have another variable called l name, that is the last name. So after executing this API, this JavaScript will create the another variable called b underscore id, and also it will set the respective value also. So let us hit the send button now. So we got the 200 status code successfully, it is got executed. Let's go to the environment variables now, and if you look at here, so this particular API created the b underscore id variable, and also it is assigned the respective value also. So now we have created the variable, and also we have assigned the value by using the simple JavaScript. Now let's read the particular value in the get booking details API. So here we are hard coding that particular booking ID so far. So let's pass it programmatically. So here I'm just specifying the b underscore id, and after that, so inside the two braces you can specify the variable name. So that's it. So it will turn into the orange color, that is nothing but it is reading the value from the environment variables. So that's it. So similarly I will do it for the update booking API. So here I'll pass b underscore id in the two curly braces. Then I will do it for the delete booking API also. So that's it. So now once again I will execute the create booking API. Right? So we got this particular number. So we got the booking ID also, and I will hit the get booking details. So we should be able to get the respective booking details now. Right? Here we got the all the details. So let us try to update something in the request body of create booking, and we'll verify whether we are getting the proper details in the get booking details. So here I'll go to the body tab, and here I'll update this particular value, that is a total price as a 1000. Then I will hit send button. So resource got created in the server, and let's hit the get booking details API now. So let's create one more request. I will just create another booking now, and I will verify it. So this API got executed properly, that is a post request. So now let's try to execute the get API. So this will get the details of the any booking details by taking the parameter as the booking ID. So if you look at this one, so whatever the value we have updated while creating a booking, we got that particular value. That is nothing but, so it is working fine. So let's do it same thing for the event token generator also, so that we can execute all our APIs. So this particular token generator returns us the token ID. So this particular token will save into the one of the variable. Then we will use that particular token variable in the update booking API, and also we'll use that particular variable in the delete booking API also. So without token we can't update any booking details, and without token we can't delete any booking details. So that's the reason we are going to save this particular token in the one of the variable, how we did it for the booking ID. So similarly I will do it for the this particular token. So I will go to the tests tab here, and here I will set the environment variable. So here I will select the set an environment variable, and before that we have to read the API response by using the pm.response. Then we have to convert this into the JSON object. Then I will assign back to the variable called JSON data. So by using this JSON data variable, then I will, after using this particular variable, that is JSON data, I will specify the key here. So that's it. So here we can specify the variable name, that is the variable key. It can be anything. So in my case, I'm specifying b underscore token. So that's it. So right now, if you look at this environment variable list, we have the only 3 variables got created. So after executing this token generator API, so another variable will be added to the environment variable list. So I will hit the send button now. Then I will go to the environment variables. So if you look at this, b underscore token variable got added, and also respective value also you can see it here. So it is ending with 757. In the response also you can see that the same value is present here. So in the update booking and delete booking, we are using this particular token in the headers, right? So I will go to the first update booking API, and here in the cookies key and respective value we are specifying it. So similar way, how we are accessing the environment variable data. So similar way, even we can specify the variable here also in the 2 curly braces. So that's it. So similarly, I'll do it for the delete booking API. I'll go to the headers. Here I'll specify the b underscore token. So that's it. So previously we were entering manually this particular token for updating the particular booking details or whenever we are deleting the booking details. So now everything we have parameterized it. Now let's execute all the APIs one by one. And also I will go to this particular folder before executing all the APIs. So here also I will parameterize the, so I don't think we can parameterize anything here. So in the first scenario we are simply passing the some random number, and in the second scenario we are passing invalid data in this particular field. So that's fine, no issues. So let's execute all the APIs which are there inside the positive endpoints. So this first API, get booking IDs, this will returns all the booking IDs. So we got the 200 response code, that's the status code. So it is working fine. So let's create the booking now. So it is working fine with the 200 status code. Then we will get the respective details by using the get booking details. So we got the response and we are able to see the 200 status code. So let's use the token generator. So token got generated, and so this time in the update API, if you look at this particular body, so we have the first name as specflow and last name as selenium C#. So if you look at the previous API, get booking details, we have the first name as testers and last name as top. So after executing this update booking, so first name and last name will be updated there also. So let's execute this API now. So it is got updated. Let's check the get booking details now. And here also you can see that first name is updated with the specflow and last name is updated with the selenium C#. And update booking API also, it is working fine. So let's execute the delete booking API also. So it is also working fine. We got the 201 created response, right? So this is how you can save the any API response in the variable, and you can use it in the further APIs. Now I will discuss what is Postman console, why we have to use the Postman console. So over here you can see in the downside on the left side you can see the console. You can click on this console. So this Postman console will be used when you think there is an issue in the API request or in the API response. So that time for debugging purpose we will be using the Postman console. So this Postman console contains list of API requests which you have made it in the Postman tool. So these are the set of requests which we have created so far, and you can see all the requests by timer wise also. You can see at what time which request got executed. You can go to this on the right side, you can click on this 3 dots and you can select this show timestamps. So on the left side you can see the timestamp for each API request. So you will get to know at what time that particular request got executed. So here every request contains all the details. So whatever the details you have specified over here. For example, we have created a booking by using the post request. So this particular post request has the network details, request headers, request body, response headers, and the response body. So first two details, that is the request headers and the request body. So these details and the type of request and the URL. So these details are provided by the client only. And the last two, that is a response headers and response body. So these two details will be coming from the server, and those details will be displayed in this particular Postman console. So that's it. Then in this Postman console, you can even clear all the logs by clicking on this clear button. So let me create another request here. Just I'll create the one booking. So after hitting the send button, here you can see that request. So what is the request we have created and all the details over here. So first we will have the network details, followed by request headers, request body, response headers, and a response body. And also we can copy all the details which are there in this Postman console log by clicking on this particular icon. So here you can see that copy all logs to clipboard. You can select this particular option, or you can click on that icon and you can cross verify with your API request. So if you look at here, so this particular API has all the details. So what are the request headers, and what is the request body it has sent, and what are the response headers, and also it contains the response body. So basically whatever the details are there over here, so all the details will be copied, and you can use it for maybe future purpose. And also you can maximize this particular window, that is a console window, Postman console window. You can click on this icon. So this will opens up the separate window, and you can maximize this window also. And here you can verify all the details. So when we are having a multiple API request or many API requests, you can maximize the console, and you can debug every API request. So this is all about the Postman console window. Now I will discuss how to verify the status code. Response body has the specified string, response headers, and response time of the server. And so far we were validating all the things manually. So now let's discuss how to verify all the things by using the simple JavaScript. So here I'm using the create booking API, and I will come to the tests tab. So here I'll write a few lines of code by using the automatic JavaScript generator. So on the right side I will come down. So let's verify the status code first. So here I'm selecting the status code is 200. So after hitting this particular create booking API, we are getting the 200 status code. So that's the reason I have specified here the 200, and this is a test name. So here I'm specifying the test name as verify status code is 200. So that's it. So right now in the test results tab, you're not seeing anything, right? So I have added one test, and it has the one assertion that is validating the status code of the API, right? So let's execute this API, and we got the success response, that is a 200 status code. And if you look at this particular test results tab, and it is showing 1 of 1. And also you can see here our test got passed because we are getting the 200 status code. Let's say if I passed the 201. So this time this test will be failed, right? Because status code is 201, but we got the 200. So that's it. So this is how we can add the status code validation for every API in this positive endpoints folder and also in the negative scenarios folder. So let's do that first. So we have done it for the create booking API. Let's do it for the get booking details. So here I'll go right side. and I will select status code is 200, and I'll say the test name as verify status code is 200. Then I will execute this API, and also our test got passed. So let's do it for the get booking details API. So now I will go to the tests API, and here I'll add the status code is 200. So that's it. So I will execute this get API request, and also I'll verify the result, and it is got passed. So similarly, I will do it for the token generator. So here I'll select the status code as 200. So that's it. I will execute the post request of token generator, and also our test got passed. So similarly, I will do it for the update booking API. I will go to the tests tab. So these are the very simple JavaScript. So no need to write a complex code here. So all the code is available over here. Just you need to select the proper command here. So that's it. So I will check the test result, and it is got passed. So let's go to the delete booking API now. I will go to the tests tab. So that's it. So if you look at the status code of the delete booking API, we are getting the 201. So that's the reason I will specify the 201 here. And I will go to the test results, and that particular test got passed. So we have executed all the APIs which are there inside the positive endpoints. Now let's go to the negative scenarios folder. We will assert the status code now. So let me execute the get API now. So after executing, we can assert the status code. So we got the 404. So let's go to the tests tab, and here I'll select the status code is 200. So instead of 200, I will specify it as a 404. So that's it. So I will execute the get request once again, and I will go to the test results tab. So our test got passed. So let me quickly update this one as well. So here we are getting the 201 in the delete booking API. So that's it. So we have executed the get API inside the negative scenarios folder. So let's do it for the post API also. So here we are getting the 400 error, right? So let's assert this 400 status code in the tests by using the JavaScript. So here you can select the status code is 200. So we are getting the 400. So I will add the 400 over here. So you can give the test method names, tests name, meaningful names you can provide to these tests. So right now I'm providing the just dummy names. So that's it. Let's execute the post request, and let's check out the result. So this is getting passed, right? So we have executed all the APIs inside the booking API collection, and all the tests are passing. So now I will go to the create booking API. So far we have discussed how to assert the status code, and now let's discuss how to assert this particular API response contains the any specified string. So let us assert this first name is having the testers as a value. So let's assert this response body contains the testers or not. So similarly, how we have added the status code validation, we can add the response body validations also. So here you can see that response body contains string, right? So simply you can click on this one, and here I'll specify the method name as verify body matches string. That's it. So here you can specify the string. So which string you want to search in this particular response. So I wanted to check whether testers is there or not in this particular response body. So here I'm adding the testers value here. So that's it. Now I will execute this create booking API. So previously only one test was there. Now we have the first one is a status code validation, and the second test we have is response body has that particular string or not, right? So let's execute this API request. So it is showing 2 of 2. So the first number is indicating the total number of tests is getting passed, and the second number is indicating the total number of tests or the total number of assertions. So I will go to this test results tab now. So here you can see that our 2 assertions are getting passed. So now what I will do, so I will add the assertion for validating this headers. So we will validate the content type and respective value over here. So we'll verify whether this response contains the content type as application/JSON semicolon and char set equal to UTF-8. So if it is coming different value from the server, automatically this particular test will fail. So however, we have added the status code validation and response body string validation. So similar way we will add the response header validation also. So you can click on this response headers, content type header check, then so simply you can specify the comma over here and you can specify the value in the double quotes. So first one is a key and next one is a value what we are validating in the response headers, and I will add the verify content type is present. So that's it. So let's execute this create booking API now. So if you look at this test results, all the assertions are getting passed. So now the last one, that is a response time validation. So this particular assertion will be adding when we are checking the response time of the server for any API request, how long that particular server is taking to respond to the request, that is API request. So let's add the one more assertion, that is response time validation. So here you can see on the right side, you can click on response time is less than 200 milliseconds. That's it. So here I will specify the test name as verify response time is less than 200 milliseconds. So currently it is taking 1556 milliseconds. So we are asserting for it should be the below 200 milliseconds. So it should get failed. So let's verify this assertion now. So if you look at this one, so we have the total 4 assertions. Out of that, 3 are getting passed and 1 is getting failed. That is the last one. So actually the server response time is total 8589. So this is a response code. So let's specify the 10,000 here. This particular response time, I am saying it should be less than the 10,000, right? So if I execute this post API right now, so all our assertions should be get passed. So if you look at the result here, 4 of 4. So all the test assertions are getting passed. So this is how we can assert the status code and response body, content type, and also response time. Let me summarize what we have discussed in the chapter 2 of API testing tutorial. Firstly, I have discussed how to create the negative scenario API request. Then I have discussed how to declare and use the environment variables. Then next I have discussed how to save any API response in the variable, and then how we can use that particular variable in any other APIs. Then next I have discussed how to use the Postman console for debugging any issues in the API. Then finally, I have discussed how to create the automatic API tests by using the JavaScript. So there we have used the assertions. By using the assertions, we have validated status code, response body, response headers, and also we have verified the response time. So this is all about the summary. You can click on like and also share this tutorial with your friends and colleagues. Also, you can comment in the comment section if you are having any issues or queries. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Hi friends, this is Bakapa. Let me summarize what we have discussed in the chapter 1 and chapter 2 of API testing tutorial. Firstly, we have discussed how to perform the CRUD operation in API testing, that is nothing but create, read, update and delete operation in API testing using the Postman tool. Then in the chapter 2, I have discussed how to test any API with the negative scenarios. Then next I have discussed how to use the environment variables. And after that I have discussed how to save the any API response in the variable and how to use that variable value in the other API request. And also I have discussed how to use the Postman tool. Then finally I have discussed how to write the automatic API tests by using the JavaScript. So there we have validated by using the assertions. We have verified a status code, response body, response headers. Finally, we have verified response time of API. In this chapter 3 of API testing tutorial, I will discuss firstly how to use the advanced assertions, that is nothing but how to assert a specific key value in the JSON object and how to work with the nested JSON objects. Then next I will discuss how to use the curl command. Especially this curl command will save us a lot of time when we are communicating between the testing team and the development team. Then next I will discuss how to execute the collections. Then after that I will discuss how to execute the folder test script. So we have the multiple folders created. So there might be a scenario you have to execute only specific folder test scripts. So we'll discuss how to do that. Then I will discuss how to exclude test script execution from the any collection execution or the folder execution. Then finally I will discuss how to export the collection into the JSON file so that we can execute our all API request and the respective automatic test script from the command line. Firstly, I will discuss how to assert the JSON key value, and also I will discuss how to work with the nested JSON objects. So here I'm using the get booking details API. So before I read the details, I will create the one booking and I will send it here. We got the booking ID here. Then I will get the booking details. So let me hit it once again. So let me create a fresh booking again. Right, we got the details now. So here let's assert the first name is equal to the testers or not. So here I will go to the tests tab. Then I will select on the right side response body JSON value check. So that's it. So here I will specify the test name as verify first name. So that's it. So I will keep this line number 6 as a global so that we will use this response throughout our test assertions. So in this particular line number 5, so simply we are reading the API response and we are converting into the JSON object, and after that we are saving that particular JSON object into the JSON data. By using this JSON data, this is that is nothing but this particular response it is having. So in this case, it is basically this JSON data variable is holding this particular API response. So by using this object, we will access this particular first name here. So that's it. And here I'll specify the expected value. Here I'm specifying the expected value as testers. So that's it, very simple. So here we are reading the API response in the line number 5, and in the line number 7 we are asserting it. So this particular statement we are using JSON data dot first name. This will returns the API response first name. Then here we have specified the expected value. So that's it. So previously we had only one test, that is for verifying the status code. Now it will have this particular get booking details API will have two tests. If you look at this test results, so firstly it has verified the status code as 200, then it is verifying the first name. So let's try to verify the sorry. So let's try to verify the one numeric value. So we have verified the string, that is the first name. So let's try to verify the total price as 1000. So simply I'll copy the line number 6, 7 and 8 and I'll come down and I'll paste it. Here I'll specify the test name as verify total price. So that's it. Then in the line number 11 I will specify the key as total price. Then here I'll specify the, I will remove this whole string and then directly I'll specify the value. So if you are verifying the numeric value, you have to specify directly the value there. So that's it. Let's execute the API now. Right. So if you look at this test results, so all our three assertions are getting passed. First one we are verifying the status code, then first name, then total price. So this is how you can verify the simple JSON object key value pairs. So now let's discuss how to work with the nested JSON objects. So if you look at this response of this get API, that is a get booking details API. So these key and respective value we can directly access it. But if I try to access this check-in or checkout date, we cannot access. So let's try to access first, because these two attributes are present, because these keys are present inside the another object called booking dates. So let's try to access directly. Then I will show you how to access the nested JSON object key value. So let's try to access the check-in date firstly by using the normal JSON object. So here I'll specify the check-in key. Then I will specify this particular date. Then I will rename this test name as verify check-in date. So that's it. So here we are trying to access this particular check-in date by using the simple JSON concept, but this JSON key is present inside the another JSON object. So this time it does not work. I mean, it will fail the assertion or the test. So let's hit the send button now. If you look at this particular test result, and it is getting failed, right? So it is getting failed because this check-in key is present inside the another JSON object. So let's specify this object name after the JSON data dot. Then I'll specify the booking dates dot check-in. So now execute this API. So if you look at this test results, all the test assertions are getting passed. If you look at the check-in date, it is getting passed. So previously it was getting failed because this particular check-in key is present inside the another JSON object called booking dates. So that's it. It is very simple. Let's try to assert the checkout date as well. So I will copy the same test again. I will come down and I'll paste it here. Here I'll specify it as a checkout date as a test name. So here I'm specifying the test name as verify checkout date. Then so we have to specify the key name. So I will simply copy this one and I'll paste it here. So similarly I will pass the respective value there. So that's it. It is very simple. So let's execute the API now. If you look at this test results, all the test assertions are getting passed, including the check-in date and checkout date also, right? So this is how you can work with the JSON key value and nested JSON object key value pairs. Now I will start discussing about the curl command. So firstly I will discuss how to export your API into the curl command. Then later I will discuss how to import any curl command into your collection API. So let's take the example of create booking API. So here you are seeing the type of request. This is URL and headers and the body. So no need to share all these details separately to the testers or the development team, right? So you can export this particular API into the curl command. On the right side, you can see that one arrow mark that is less than, / and greater than. So that is nothing but the code. You can click on this icon and here you can see the multiple options over here. So you need to select the option as C curl. Then you can click on this copy snippet. You can share this snippet to the testing team or the development team so that they can directly import this curl command into their API collection. So this is how you can export any API into the curl command. So let's start discussing how to import any curl command. So whenever you get it from the API from your testing team or the development team. So you can click on this import button on the top. After that you can select the raw text. So just now we have copied the code snippet, that is nothing but the curl command. Simply I am pasting that curl command over here. Then I will click on continue. Then I will import it. So that's it. After that I will click on this arrow on the right side of save button. Then here I'll say save as. So here we can provide the API request name. So here I'm providing the API request name as curl command import also. So that's it. So here you can select the whatever the folder. So inside the booking collections, so we have the two folders. So I'm saving this curl command import into the positive endpoints folder. So that's it. Then I will click on save button. So that's it. We got the curl command import here. Then simply I will hit the send button now. So this API is working fine, right? So here we are getting the booking ID. So this is how you can export the any API into the curl command. And after that, whenever you want to import any curl command into the collections, that is also you got it, right? So that's all about the curl command. So far we have discussed how to execute the APIs and respective tests by executing manually one by one all the APIs, right? So if we are having 100 APIs, so we will be executing one by one all the APIs. So that will be more time consuming, right? So let's discuss how to execute the whole collection at one shot. So you can select this collection and you can click on 3 dots, and after that you can select the option as run collection. So here on the left side you will see all the API requests which are there inside your collection. So on the right side you will find the data. So you can select the data file if we are performing the data driven testing. And right now we are not performing any data driven testing, so we will discuss this concept a bit later. So simply you can click on run booking API. So that's it. So execution got completed. So here you can see the one column called duration. So here you will find the total time taken for this entire execution, and another column you can see here all tests. So we have total 15 test assertions. So coming down here in this all tests tab, you will find all the test, that is a API request and respective details. So if you look at here, one of the API, this is the get API. So this is a request name and followed by the URL. So this is where exactly this API is present. This is a path of the API. Then we are getting the status code, and after that we are getting the response time of the server. Then finally, so this is nothing but the response body plus response headers total size. So that's brief about the execution summary result, and also you can click on this past. So in this section you will find all the passed API and respective test assertions. And you can click on this field. If there is any failed tests, so you will find it here. And also you can click on this view summary. So here you will find each API wise respective how many tests are there or how many assertions are there. Now I will discuss how to execute the any specific folder API request and respective test scripts. So here I'm going to one of the API called curl command import. So here I'm intentionally failing this particular test. We are validating the status code here. So here I have entered the different status code so that in our positive endpoints folder, all the tests will get passed apart from the curl command import API, right? So now let's discuss how to execute any specific folder API request and the respective assertions. So you can select the folder and you can click on three dots and you can select the option as run folder. On the left side, you will see all the API requests which are there inside the positive endpoints. And if you look at this one, this is a run order. So firstly, it will execute this get booking IDs API, then it will execute the create booking API, then next it will execute get booking details API, and so on. So on the right side, if you are having any data file, that is a test data file, you can click on this select file and you can select the test data file and you can simply click on run booking API. So if you look at this, total passed test script is 13 and one is failed. So if you look at this, the failed one, request name, this is a curl command import. So we have failed this particular API request and respective validation intentionally because we are expecting the 202 as a status code, but we are getting the 200, right? So this is how you can execute the any specific folder API request and respective test assertions. So now I will discuss how to exclude any API request and respective test validation from the execution. So while executing the collection or while executing the folders, you can exclude the any API request execution from your test validations. So I will show you an example with the by executing the one of the folder API request. So you can select this folder and you can click on three dots and you can click on run folder option. On the left side, you will find all the requests which are there inside this particular positive endpoints folder. So this is the particular order. So all the APIs will get executed one by one. So you can uncheck this particular checkboxes if you don't want to execute this particular APIs. So in my case, I will exclude all the APIs apart from the get booking API. Sorry, that's apart from the get booking IDs API. So only one API will get executed. So simply I will click on run booking API. So if you look at this one, in the past tab, only one API got executed and that is what passed. We are validating the status code of the API response. And also you can check out the total duration, how long it took for the execution. So it took 2 seconds, 321 milliseconds. And if you look at this all tests, so we have only one test script. So this is how you can exclude the any API from the test execution. Now I will discuss how to export the collections into the JSON file, and also I will discuss how to export the environment variables into the JSON file so that we can execute our API request and respective test verifications from the command prompt. Let's discuss first how to export the collections into the JSON file. You can select this collection and you can click on three dots and you can come down and here you will see the option as export and click on that option. After that you can click on export. So here we have to save the collection in the format of JSON. So here I am specifying the file name as booking_API.json. So that's it. You can click on save. So this is how you can export the collections into the JSON file. Now let's discuss how to export the environment variables into the JSON file. You can go to the environment variables and after that you can click click on edit button. Then you can click on this three dots. Then you will see the option as export. So this file also you need to save in the format of JSON. So here I'm specifying the file name as environment.json. So that's it. So here we have saved the collections and also we have saved the environment variables in the format of JSON file. So in the next tutorial I will discuss, in the chapter 4 of API testing tutorial, I will discuss how to execute collections from the command prompt. So that's all I have in this chapter 3 of API testing tutorial. In the next tutorial I will discuss how to install newman and how to execute the collection from the command prompt, and also we will see how to generate the HTML report after executing the test script from the command prompt. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Hi friends, this is Bakapa. In the previous tutorial I have discussed how to assert the JSON values. Then I have discussed how to use the curl command. Then I have discussed how to execute the collections, and also I have discussed how to execute the folders. And then I have discussed how to exclude the test script execution from the collections. Then finally I have discussed how to export the collections into the JSON file. In this chapter 4 of API testing tutorial, I will discuss how to install newman. Then I will discuss how to execute the Postman collections from the command prompt. Then I will discuss how to generate the standard HTML report after executing the Postman collections from the command prompt. Then finally I will discuss how to generate the advanced HTML report after executing the collections from the command prompt. Firstly, I will discuss how to download and install the newman. You can go to the google.com and here you can type install newman. So after that you can make sure that you are clicking on this particular link, that is support.postman.com. So you can click on this particular link, and after that, so these are the steps you need to follow. So if you have the npm installed already, we can directly install our newman directly. So if you don't have npm installed, so you need to firstly install the nodejs. You can click on this node.js and you can download the .msi for Windows, and you can download the .package for the Mac OS and you can install it. So steps are very easy and simple. It is straightforward. You can go ahead and complete the installation process. So after installing the node.js in your system, and you can verify the node.js just by typing the node ---- and version. After executing node space ---- version, so you should get the version of the node.js. So this is how you can install the node.js in your system. After installing the node.js, you need to run this particular command for installing the newman in your system. So you need to write in the command prompt npm install followed by -g and newman. So after entering this command, so installation will be completed. After completion of your installation, you can check it by just typing the newman ---- version. So you should get the version of the newman. So here I got the version of the newman. So this is how you can make sure that node.js is installed correctly and also newman is installed correctly. So this is all about the installation part of newman. So now let's discuss how to execute the Postman collections from the command prompt. So in the previous tutorial we have exported the booking_API JSON file, and also we have exported the environment.json file. So by using these two files, we can execute all the API requests and respective test script. So I will open the command prompt and I will do the change directory till this particular location, and here I'll type cd So that's it. So now we have to use the newman command here. So sorry, sorry guys. So first booking underscore API, this contains the all the API request and respective test script. In the second JSON file, that is the environment.json file, it contains all the variables and values. That's the respective values it contains. So we have to execute this particular collection and we have to pass the values from this particular JSON file. That's the environment.json file, right? So here we have to enter newman followed by run. Then we have to specify the collection name. So here I'm specifying the booking underscore API.json and space. Here I'm entering the hyphen E. So that is nothing but we have to specify the environment JSON file now. So we have specified the here JSON, that is a collection file in the form of JSON. And next we have to specify the environment.json file, right? So here I'll specify the, so hyphen E is nothing but the environment variable JSON file. So that's it. So I'll maximize this one. So now all the API requests are getting executed. So total we have the 16 assertions. Out of that, one is getting failed. So this is the expected failure. If you look at the result here, so this particular API request is getting failed. So here I have passed the 202, but we are getting the 200 from the server. So this is the expected failure. So this is how you can execute the Postman collections from the command prompt. So it is very simple. So just you need to type newman followed by run, and after that collection name, and after that hyphen E, and followed by the environment variables JSON file. So you can try this at your end and let me know if you are having any issues. So this is all about the executing the Postman collections from the command prompt. Now let's start discussing about how to generate the standard HTML report after executing the Postman collections from the command prompt. So now I will go to the command prompt. So here we have to install the one npm package. So that's npm and followed by npm followed by I and followed by G. Then you need to enter newman hyphen reporter and followed by HTML. So you need to enter this particular command. You need to install the one of the npm package. So that's the reason you have to enter the npm followed by I and space followed by hyphen G, then space followed by newman hyphen reporter hyphen HTML. So that's it. So this installation will take few seconds. So let's wait for a few seconds. After the completion of this installation, we can execute our booking API collection from the command prompt, and after that, by using the another command, we should be able to generate the standard HTML report. So let's wait for a few more seconds. So after completion of this installation, we have to use the one simple command. So we have already discussed how to execute any Postman collections from the command prompt. So let's execute our Postman collection now. So we have to enter newman followed by run. Then here we have to specify the collection name and followed by hyphen E, and here we have to specify the environment variables JSON file, right? So here I'll pass the environment variable JSON file, and simply I will execute the collections right now. After completion of this execution, we can use the similar command. So now I will go to the place where we have placed our collections and also the environment variable JSON file, right? So if you look at here, so there is no JSON folder here. So if I execute the command now, so here one folder will be generated with the newman, and inside that we should be able to find the .html report. So I will use the same command, whatever the command we have used for executing the collections from the command prompt, and followed by I will specify the -r and I'll say HTML. Then I will hit the enter. So it will take few seconds and eventually it will generate the HTML report. Let's go to the place where we have the collections, right? If you look at here, newman folder got created and inside there is a HTML report. Let's open this HTML report now. And if you look at here, total number of assertions is 60. Out of that, 1 got failed and total failures are 1. So this is the expected failure. And here you will see the folder wise all the API requests. So let me go to the one of the API, that's a create booking API. So we have the two folders, that is a positive endpoints and the negative scenarios. So all the API request and respective test assertion got executed, right? So let's go to the one of the API, that is a create booking API, and inside this you will see the method type, that's a type of method is post, and after that you will see the URL, and here you will see the total passed tests, that is 4. Right now we have the 0 failures in this particular API request, and also you will see the status code. So what is the status code? We got it. And after that, so we have the total 4 tests got passed, and those 4 assertions you can find it here, and respective count also you can find it here. So there are 0 failures. So this is the example of one of the API which got passed. So let's go to the another API. So that is a curl command import. So in this particular API we have only one test that is got failed. If you look at here, so this is the expected failure, and also you can look the count here, failed count. So this is how you can generate the standard HTML report after executing the Postman collections from the command prompt. Now let's discuss how to generate the advanced HTML report after executing the collections from the command line. So now I will go to the command line. So we have to install the one of the npm package called, so here I am entering the command called npm followed by install space -g and followed by newman and followed by that reporter -html and I'll say extra. So that's it. So here I have entered the npm space install space -g and followed by space newman reporter html extra. So that's it. So after that simply hit the enter. So there some npm packages will be getting installed. So after the installation is completed, simply we have to execute the all our collections API requests. So let's wait for a few seconds. So after the completion of this installation, we can execute the Postman collections. So it is very easy. So just you need to use the only one simple command. By using that, we can generate the advanced HTML report. So installation got completed now, right? So here we have to execute our collections. So that's the reason here I'm entering newman followed by run. Then I'll specify the collection name and I'll specify the -e. Followed by that, I'll specify the environment variable JSON file, and followed by we have to specify the 2 hyphen followed by reporters equal to CLI and comma, then simply enter the HTML extra. So if you look at this particular folder where we have the collections JSON file and the environment variable JSON file. So currently we don't have the newman folder. After executing this collections, so in this particular location newman folder will be generated. Inside that we will be finding the HTML report. So let's execute our collections, and after that it will create the newman folder, and also it will create the .html report. So that's it. So execution got completed. So we have the assertions. Total assertions is 16. Out of that is one got failed. And let's go to the location. And if you look at here, newman folder got generated. Let's open the HTML report. So this is the advanced HTML report for the API testing. So you can switch between this dark and light. And in my case, I will keep it as light. So this is a whole summary. You can find total number of assertions. Out of this, one got failed. And if you come down also, you can see the summary of the complete collections execution. And here also you can see the assertions part. Total is 16 and one got failed. And you can switch. You can click on this particular total requests. And here you will find the folder wise all the API request and respective test script. And you can click on this expand folder, so it will expand the folder. So right now we have the two folders. One is positive endpoints, which has the 7 API request, and second folder we have is negative scenarios, which has the 2 API request. Let me expand this folder. So let's go to the one of the API here. I will open the create booking API. So here you will find the request method and the URL which we have used, and here you will find the status code. So if you look at the percentage of passing in this particular API, that is assertions. So all the assertions got passed in this API. So if I come down, so this is the request headers, all the key and the values are there, and after that request body, what we have sent to the server. After that response headers, what we got it from the server, and after that you will find the response body. So this is the response we got it from the server, and then finally you will see the test information. So here you will find all the test names and respective status, and all the 4 tests got passed, and also here you can see the total number of tests is 4. So this is the one of the API which got passed all the test script. So let us go to the another API where our one of the test script got failed. So if you look at this color, so if it is green, that is nothing but all the assertions got passed in that particular API, and if it is highlighting in the red color, that is nothing but so assertions are got failed in that particular API. So let's open this API, that is a curl command import, and this is the post API, post method API, and this is the URL what we have used, and this is the request headers, then request body, and this is the response headers what we got it from the server, and this is the response body, and finally we have the test information. And also you can copy this particular response body also by clicking on this copy to clipboard. And if I come down here, so this is the only one assertions we have added, that is nothing but only one test is there inside this particular API, and that is what failed here. And if you look at this particular total count also 1, and here you will see the test failure reason. So actually expected is 202, but we are getting the 200 status code from the server. So this is the expected failure in our case. So this is how you can generate the advanced newman HTML report after executing the collections from the command prompt. Hey, hi friends, this is Bakappa. In the previous tutorial I have discussed how to install newman tool, and then I have discussed how to execute the Postman collections from the command prompt. Then next I have discussed how to generate the newman HTML report, and then finally I have discussed how to generate the newman advanced HTML report after executing the collections from the command prompt. In this chapter 5 of API testing tutorial, I will discuss how to create the patch API request. Then I will discuss the couple of interview questions on Postman API testing. So we will discuss what are the key differences between the put API request and patch API request, and then I will discuss what is the difference between post API request and patch API request. Then next I will discuss what are the key difference between the put API request and the post API request. finally I will discuss how to verify the JSON schema. So before we go ahead and create the patch API request, I will discuss the interview questions. So let's talk about the first. What is the difference between put API request and the patch API request? In case of put API request, we will use the type of method is a put. In case of patch API request, we will use the type of method is the patch. In case of put, so this technique will be used for modifying the resource in the server when client sends the data to the server where all the data will be replaced. In case of patch API request, so this is also one of the technique of modifying the resource in the application server when client sends the partial data, and that will be updated without replacing the whole data in the application server. And in case of put, so this put request consumes the more bandwidth, but patch request consumes the less bandwidth, because in case of put API request, we will be sending the whole data. In case of patch API request, we will send the partial request body. So that's all about the put API request and the patch API request difference. And let's move on to the next topic, that is what is the difference between post API request and the patch API request. In case of post API request, we will use the type of method is a post, and in case of patch API request, we will use the type of method is patch. So post in the case of post, we will use this particular post method to create the new resource in the application server. But in case of patch, so patch API request will be used when we are modifying the resource in the server where client sends the partial data to the application server. Only that partial data will be updated without replacing the whole data in the application server. So that's all about the difference between post API request and the patch API request. So let's move on to the what is the difference between put API request and the post API request. In case of put API request, we will use the type of method is put. In case of post API request, we will use the type of method is a post. So put API request will be used to modify the resource in the server, and there we will specify the whole data, and that data will be updated in the server application server. So mainly we will pass everything, whatever the data is there for any specific resource, that whole that specific resource data will be updated with the request body. But in case of post, we will use this particular post method to create the new resource in the server. Now let's discuss what is patch API request and how to create the patch API request. So let me define what is patch API request once again. So patch API request is one of the type of API request, and this patch API request will be used to modify the resource in the application server. When client sends the partial data to the server, only that partial data will be updated in the server without replacing the whole data in the application server. So here I will use the update booking API, and I will create the duplicate of this API request, and I will rename this request as partial update booking. So that's it. And after that, I will specify the type of method is patch here. So that's it. And I will come to the body now. That's the request body. So as I said in the definition, so we will be mentioning the only partial data. So client will be sending the partial data to the application server, right? So here I will remove all the fields here except the first name and last name. So that's it. So if you look at here, so we are trying to pass the only first name and the last name. So here I'll specify the first name as Postman, and I will specify the last name as Tutorial. So that's it. So if you look at this particular API request, that's a patch API request, and it is got updated with the patch, and we have specified the partial update booking as the request name. So let's create the new booking first, and we'll start updating the one of the booking partially. So we have created, so we got the booking ID here, and let's read the booking details. And if you look at here, the first name is testers and the last name is stock. So let's execute the token generator. So this is the concept we are using here. That's a JWT. So that is nothing but JSON Web Token. We are generating the web token, and after generating this web token, we are using this token in the partial update booking API request headers. If you look at here, so we are using that particular token. So let's generate the JWT and we'll execute the partial update booking API now. So if you look at here, the first name is updated with the Postman and last name is updated with the tutorial. So let's verify by going to the get booking details here. And if you look at here, first name is updated with the Postman and also last name is updated with the tutorial, and rest of the details are same. So we have updated the only specific details, that's partially we have updated in this whole particular resource details, right? So let's try to update only the first name. So now I will add the request body. I will specify the only first name. So you can specify only one field also. Here I will specify the first name as API testing. So that's it. So let's create the new booking again. So this time it has to update only the first name. So booking, we got the booking ID, and let's verify the booking details, and we got the details. So let's generate the token, that is JSON Web Token, and we got the token, and let's execute the patch API request. So we have specified the only first name as API testing. So only first name should be updated with the API testing, and rest of the details should be as is. And if you look at this one response, we got the 200 status code. Also first name is got updated with the API testing. Let's verify in the get API call. So if you look at here, only the first name got updated. So this is how you can create the patch API request in the Postman while testing the APIs. Now let's discuss how to perform the JSON schema validation. So before we go ahead and verify the JSON schema, so let's understand what is schema validation. So I will create the one new booking here. Then we will read the booking details by calling to the get API call. So if you look at the couple of fields and respective values, first one is first name, last name, and also the additional names. If you look at the respective values, all the fields, all three fields are accepting that the data in the form of only string, right? So in these places, if we are getting the different type of data, for example, we may get the integer data or we may get the boolean data. So in those cases, our test script will get failed. So this is nothing but the JSON schema validation. For example, so there is another field called total price. So total price should contains only the numeric data. So if application server is returning the string type of data, so automatically our test script will get failed. So let's perform this validation. And before we go ahead and perform this validation, we have to convert this particular response into the JSON schema. So you can convert any JSON object into the JSON schema by yourself, or you can get the JSON schema from the development team. So in our case, we will convert this particular JSON object into the JSON schema by going to the google.com. Here you can search for convert JSON to JSON schema. So here you can go to the first link, liquid.technologies. So this site is returning me the proper JSON schema for the JSON object. So simply you can paste the JSON object which you want to convert into the JSON schema, and you can click on I'm not a robot. So simply you can select whatever the motorcycle. So let's verify it. Okay, done. So we can click on generate schema, and here we got the JSON schema for the respective JSON object. You can click on this icon to copy the JSON schema, and you can come here in the, so here we will use the get booking details API. After creating the booking, we will verify the application server is returning the proper JSON schema for the any booking details. So here I will select the get booking details API, and I will go to the tests tab, and I'll come down here. So here I'll create one constant variable as expected schema. So I'll paste it. So that's it. So you need to remove the first line. So this is not required. Only first line you need to remove it. So that's it. So this is our expected JSON schema. So I'll say expected JSON schema. So that's it. I'll come down. So we have the expected JSON schema with us. We have to write one simple test script by using the pm dot. Here I'll say test. So here inside this we have to specify the test name. So that's it. So here I'll specify the test name as verify JSON schema. So that's it. Then inside this test script I will use the pm object. So this pm object contains the API request and the response. So here I will use the response dot to dot. So basically here I'm converting this to the JSON schema. So here I'm calling to the method called JSON schema. So we got the current API response JSON schema, and after that we have to specify the our expected JSON schema which is there above here. So here I have specified the variable name of that, right? So currently our schema is matching with the our API response schema. So in this case it will get passed. This particular test will be passing. So let's execute the first create booking API. So we will create the booking, and then we will execute the get booking details API. And if you look at the test results, our test got passed to verify JSON schema. So let's do some modifications in the expected JSON schema. So what I will do, so first name we are getting the string, so I will specify it as an integer. So just we are experimenting right now, so we are trying to fail it intentionally, right? So this time our test will get failed with the reason first name is not matching, right? So let's execute this API now, and if you look at this failure reason, so our test got failed, and then reason is first name should be integer. From the server we are getting in the form of string only, right? So if n number of fields are mismatching, still it will returns all the field names over here in the error message. Let's try to fail another. So we'll intentionally modify the one of the attribute expected type of value. So I will specify total price as the string type. So we are expecting the string type of value for total price attribute, right? So let's execute the get API call. So if you look at this test results, out of 6, 5 are passed and 1 is failed. And if you come down here, first name should be integer, and also it is showing the next field, that is a total price, should be string, right? From the application server we are getting the integer value, right? So that's a reason. So if n number of fields are mismatching, which is coming from the application server, all the fields and respective details will be shown over here. So this is how we can perform the JSON schema validation in API testing using Postman. Hi friends, this is Bakapa. In the previous API testing tutorial, I have discussed how to create the patch API request, and also I have discussed what are the difference between put API request and patch API request, and post API request and the patch API request, and also I have discussed what are the difference between post API request and put API request. And also I have discussed how to verify the JSON schema. In this chapter 6 of A/B testing tutorial, I will discuss how to perform the data-driven testing using the JSON file. Let's start discussing about how to perform the data-driven testing using JSON file in Postman. So we will use the create booking API and where we are passing the first name and last name. So we will pass the first name and last name multiple times for the single scenario, and at the end we are getting the response, and we are getting here we are getting the first name and last name. And after performing the data driven testing, also we will verify the first name and last name. So let's first discuss how to perform the data driven testing. So how to pass the multiple sets of test data to this particular create booking API. So we will firstly create the test data file where it contains the first name and last name. That is nothing but multiple sets of test data. We'll create it in the JSON file. So here I will create the text document. Later we'll convert this document into the JSON file. So here I'll write the two brackets. Inside this I will write the JSON object. So two bracket is nothing but this is the array of JSON objects. So here we are writing the first JSON object, and inside this we will write the key and value pairs. So here I'm specifying the F name as a key, and after that I will pass the value as Postman. And similarly I will copy this key and value, and I will create another key value, that is L name, that is nothing but last name, and I will specify the value as tutorial. So that's it, and I'll specify the comma here, and I'll save it. I will copy this one set of test data. So right now this is a single JSON object. Let's create another two JSON object, and we'll pass the different F name and L name. So I'll copy this JSON object and I'll paste it here. So that's it. In the second set of test data, I will specify the F name as, that is a first name as API testing, and I'll keep the L name as tutorial only. And in the third set of test data, I'll specify the first name as SpecFlow, Selenium, C#. So that's it. So I will select this file and I will select the option as save as, and here I'll select the all files. In that double quotation I will say test data JSON dot JSON. So we are saving this particular file in the format of JSON. Then I will click on save button, and it has got saved the JSON file here. If you look at on the type of file, it is a JSON file. So that's it. So this is all about the creation of the JSON test data file. So let's go to our Postman now, and I will select the collection, and I will click on this three dots, and I will run the collection. So I don't want to run all the API requests here. I wanted to run only the create booking API. And on the right side, so here if you look at this one, so we have selected only the create booking API, that's a post call. On the right side, the run configurations, currently we are seeing the iterations as 1. So after selecting this particular test data file, so here it will be 3 because we are passing the 3 sets of test data. So let's click on this select file, and you will select the test data file what we have created just now. So there is some issue in the test data file. Let's fix that particular issue. I will edit this JSON file with the Notepad++. I'll say close it. Let me close all the programs now. So let me edit this JSON file with the Notepad++, and we'll see what is exactly the issue there. So at the end we have specified the comma. Let's remove that comma. So that's it, and we will close this file, and let's try to select the same file again. So let me close this particular runner, and we will reopen this run collection runner. I will uncheck all the API requests apart from the create booking API. Then after that I will select the test data file. So that's it, right? So here we have selected the test data JSON file, and if you look at these iterations, right, now it is increased to 3 because we are passing the 3 sets of test data into this particular create booking API. So that's it. Make sure that this data file type is application/JSON. Then after that you can simply run the booking API. So if you look at this particular passed, so this is the first iteration, and this is the second iteration, and this is the third iteration. So let's look at the request body, what it has sent in the first iteration. That's the iteration 1. So you can click on this request name and you can select the request body. So if you look at this one, so first name is Postman and last name is tutorial. So this is the first set of test data what we have passed from the JSON file. And let's look at the iteration 2, and I will select that request name, API request name, and I will select the request body. Second time it is passing the first name as API testing and last name as tutorial, right? And third time it is passing the first name as SpecFlow, Selenium C# and last name as tutorial. So it is working as expected. So we are able to perform the data-driven testing. So this is how we can perform the data-driven testing. So let's add some validations in the test script. So let's go to our create booking API and we'll go to the tests. So after passing each set of test data, so we are getting the response like this, first name and last name. So we will verify we are getting the first name and last name as expected. When I pass the first name as Postman, I should get the first name as Postman only and last name as tutorial only, right? So like that. So what I will do, I will go down here and here I will. So firstly I have to read the variable data which is coming in this request body, right? So let's read the first name and last name and we'll keep it in the variables. So here I'll use the PM object dot and variables dot get. So inside this you can specify the key name. So in our case key name is fname. So that's it, and I will store this into the variable that is fname. Similarly I will create it for the name, that is the last name. So here I will replace the key as name and I will edit this variable name as name. So that's it. So these two lines will read the test data which is coming from the JSON file and it will store into the fname, so that we can verify this fname with our response first name, right? So we already know how to verify any JSON response value, right? So you can go on the right side and we can select the response body JSON value check. That's it. So here I will write the test name as verify first name. So that's it. I will take out this line number 24 out of this test method and I'll keep it as a global. So this particular JSON data contains the current API response in the form of JSON object, right? Then I will delete this line, and after that, so here we have to specify the current JSON response value, and after that we have to specify the here expected value. Expected value we have here, we are reading it from our test data file. So we'll verify the first name first, then I'll keep it here the first name, and here we have to specify our API response first name, right? So if you look at this particular response, API response, our first name is present inside the booking JSON object. So that's the reason I will specify the booking after the JSON data dot. I'll specify the booking dot first name. That's it. So similarly, I will add another test for the verification of last name, and here I'll modify this test name as verify last name. Then after that, here I'll pass the key, that is last name, and here I'll pass the L name. So that's it. So these two lines we are using for reading the test data which is coming from the JSON file, and after that, by using this JSON data, we are reading the current API response, and after that, in the line number 25 and in the line number 29, we are validating the first name and the last name. So this is how you can write your tests for validating the data-driven tests. So let's execute this collection once more. So I will exclude all other API request calls. I'll keep it only the create booking API. So once again, we'll select the test data file. And if you look at the iterations, 3. So currently we have 3 sets of test data. Then you can run the booking API. And if you look at here, so this is the first iteration 1. That's in the iteration 1. And if you look at this one, it has verified the first name and the last name. And in the iteration 2, it has verified the first name and last name. When we have passed the third set of test data, that is iteration 3, and it is validating the first name and last name, right? So everything is getting passed. So let's verify. Let's try to pass the invalid data in the expected value, in the expected. So I will go to the create booking API once again. So here what I will do, simply I will hard code the wrong value here for the first name and last name. Here I'll say test1 and test2. That's it. So in this case, 3 sets of test data will be passing to this create booking API, and 3 into 2, it will be 6. Total 6 tests should be failing, right? Because first name is not matching with the current API response. So once again, I will run the collection. So I will uncheck other API calls. I will keep it only the create booking API call. Then I will select the test data file. Then I will run the booking API. So if you look at in this particular tab, that is passed is 9, and also you can look at here the failed. In the first time when we have passed the first set of test data, and it is failing because first name is not matching, last name is not matching, and in the iteration 2 also it is not matching with the value, that is the first name and last name. And if you look at this iteration 3 also, it is not matching with the first name and last name. So this is how you can perform the data driven testing, and also you can add the assertions by using the JavaScript. Hi friends, this is Bakappa. In the previous API testing tutorial, I have discussed how to perform the data driven testing using JSON file. In this chapter 7 of API testing tutorial, I will discuss how to perform the data driven testing using CSV file. Let's start discussing about how to perform the data driven testing using the CSV file. So previously we have discussed how to perform the data driven testing using the JSON file. So while discussing the JSON file data driven testing, so we have passed the first name and last name from the JSON file, and at last we have verified the first name and last name. And if we go to this particular tests, so we have written the line number 20 and 21 for reading the test data from the test data file, and after that the line number 25 we are verifying the first name, and in the line number 30 we are verifying the last name, right? So these are the two validations, so will be applicable if we pass the CSV test data file. So let's prepare the CSV test data file, then we will discuss how to perform the data driven testing using the CSV file as well. So I will go to the one of the folder here, and I will create the Microsoft Excel worksheet, and we will convert this into the CSV file later. So here I will add the header as f name, and then here name, So f name is nothing but first name and l name is nothing but the last name. And here I will specify the first name as Postman, then last name as tutorial. Then this is the first set of test data, and we'll pass the second set of test data as API testing as the first name, and I will specify the last name as tutorial. And we have passed the first set of test data and second set of test data, and let's pass the another set of test data. So here I will specify the first name as specflow selenium C# I will specify as the first name. Then last name I will specify it as tutorial. So that's it. We have specified the three sets of test data in this CSV file. So we will convert this Excel file into the CSV file. You can go to the file and you can select the save as option. Then after that, select the location wherever you want to keep your test data file. And here in the save as type, I will select the CSV type. So here I'll select this CSV comma delimited. Then after that, I'll specify the file name as test data CSV. So that's it. I will save it. So I'll say yes. Then I will close this Excel file. So that's it. So here we have our CSV file. So this is all about creating the test data file. Let's go to our Postman now, and I will select this collection and I will click on three dots and I will say run collection. So here we will use only the create booking API and I will uncheck all these other API calls and respective test script. So that's it. On the right side, in the run configuration, make sure that this will become 3 because we are passing the 3 sets of test data after selecting our test data file. So we'll select the test data file now, and here I'm selecting the test data CSV file. Then I'll say open, and if you look at here, so iterations now it is increased to 3, and also or whatever the file we have uploaded, we got the file here. And make sure you are getting the text/CSV as the data file type. So after selecting our test data file, and after that simply you can run the booking API. And if you look at this one, so here total we have 3 iterations. In the first iteration, this is the first iteration, and it is verifying all the assertions, that is of status code, body contains some string, content type, response time, first name and last name. So these two we are passing it from our test data file. Based on that, it is verifying the API response. So let's look at what is the request it is sent to the application server. In the iteration 1, that is the first set of test data should pass to the application server now. So I will go to the request body, and if you look at here, so it is passing the Postman tutorial as the first name and last name. That is in the iteration 1. In the iteration 2, it is passing the API testing tutorial as the first name and last name. And in the iteration 3, our API is passing the first name as specflow selenium C# and last name as tutorial, right? So this is working as expected. So this is how you can perform the data driven testing using the CSV file. Hey, hi friends, this is Bakapa. So far you have seen how to create different API requests and how to write the API tests in the Postman, and also we have discussed how to run the Postman collections from the command prompt. In this chapter 8 of API testing tutorial, I will discuss how to install Jenkins, how to run Postman collections from the Jenkins. Then we will set the CRON pattern for our Jenkins job. Then finally, I will discuss how to generate the Newman advanced HTML report in the Jenkins. Firstly, I will discuss how to install install the Jenkins, you can go to the YouTube channel, and here you can find for the testers talk, and you can go to my channel, and here you can go to the videos tab, and if you scroll down, so here you will find one tutorial explaining about how to install the Jenkins or how to set up the Jenkins. So don't worry about this link or the video. So I will provide this video link in the description of this below video. You can directly navigate there. So let's jump into our login page of Jenkins. So here I will log in into the Jenkins, and before we go ahead and create the Jenkins job, we will prepare our bat file. So here I will go to my one of the location in my computer, and here I'll create the one text document, and I will open this text document. After that, so we have to specify the one command, that is, so we have already discussed how to run the Postman collections from the command prompt, right? So same command we are using in our bat file. So if you look at this particular command, so here I'm specifying the newman followed by run, and after that we have specified our collections.json file, and after that -e, and followed by I have specified our environment variable JSON file. So simply I will copy this command. Just now what we have created a text document, so I'll paste it inside that. After that I will click on this file, and I will do the save as, and here I'll select the all files, and after that in the double quotes I will specify the file name as jenkins job1.bat. So basically here we are creating the Windows batch file, and I'll save it. So that's it. So if you look at here, we got the Jenkins job1 Windows batch file type, right? So we have created the Windows batch file. Let's go to our Jenkins. So here I'll click on new item, and here I'll specify the name of the item as booking API, and after that I will select the freestyle project, and I'll click on OK. So that's it, and after that you can go to the build tab, and here you can click on this add build step, and here you can choose the execute Windows batch. So here we have to provide our bat file path, just now what we have created, right? So simply I'll copy this path. After that I will specify the file name as jenkins job1.bat. So that's it, and click on apply and save it. So that's it. Let's go to our dashboard, and here we got our Jenkins job created. You can click on this job, and after that simply build now. And if you look at here, first Jenkins job is running. You can click on this particular job, and if you look at this one, all our APIs are getting executed, and here you are seeing some of the Unicode characters. So we'll see how to overcome this issue now. So if you look at this, our build status, it is success. All the APIs and respective tests are passing here, right? So this is how we can create the Jenkins job. So now I will discuss how to overcome this particular issue, right? So let's go to our bat file. So I will edit this particular bat file. So after the run, I will specify this particular line, that is a -- disable -Unicode. That means it will simply deletes, simply it will convert into the proper values instead of printing the Unicode values. So that's it. So I have saved this particular bat file after editing it. So that's it. Let's go to the Jenkins now once again. Again I will go to the booking API job, and again I will build it. So if you look at here, our second Jenkins job is running. You can click on this job, and if you look at here, so our build is success, and also this particular table is also displaying what we have seen in the command prompt while executing, and all the APIs are getting executed and respective tests also getting executed properly, right? So this is how you can create the Jenkins job, and this is how you can execute the Postman collections from the Jenkins. Now let's start discussing about how to set the cron pattern or how to schedule the Jenkins job. So you can go to this google.com and you can search for cron wiki, and here you will find the cron Wikipedia. And if you go down, so basically this cron will be used for scheduling the Jenkins job. And if you come down in the overview section, and here you will find the 5 stars. So first star indicates minutes, and second star indicates hours, and third star indicates day of the month, and fourth star indicates the month, and fifth star indicates the day of the week. Sorry. So basically you can decide when you want to execute your Jenkins job, right? Let's go to our Jenkins job now. So we will schedule our booking API collection execution by using the cron pattern. You can go to the configure here, and inside this you can click on build triggers. So inside this build triggers, you'll find one option called build periodically, and here I'll specify 5 stars. So what I will do after specifying 5 stars, I want to execute my booking API job every minute. So that's the reason I will specify it as a 1 here. So in the first star, after that I will specify 1 forward slash, that is a by 1. That is nothing but, so this particular job will execute every minute. So let's apply it and save it, and we'll wait for the first run. So basically it will take the 1 minute of time. That is nothing but, for example, right now the time is 19:59. So it will execute exactly, if you look at here, at 8 p.m. the first job is running. If I go to this particular job, and here you'll see all the APIs are getting executed, and at the end you will see the success as the build status, right? Let's go back. The first run is on 8 p.m. and we'll wait for the fourth Jenkins job. So it should execute at 8:01. So this is very easy. You can try at your end, and also you can create the Jenkins job by installing the nodejs, and also you can execute the newman directly in the Jenkins itself instead of creating the bat file, and also you can execute your Postman collections in the Jenkins. And if you look at here, at 8:01 another job is running, and also it is got completed. You can click on this particular job number, and you can click on the console job, and if you come down here, so you'll find the build status and also respective output also here. So this is how you can schedule the Jenkins job for the Postman collections execution from the Jenkins. So far you have seen how to install Jenkins and how to create the Jenkins job, and also I have discussed how to schedule the Jenkins job using the cron pattern. Now let's discuss how to attach the newman HTML report into the Jenkins job after the build execution. So we have to add this particular command in the bat file. So after this adding this particular command till the environment variables, we have to specify --, reporters equal to CLI, comma, then we have to add the HTML extra in the Windows batch file. Simply I will copy this one, and I will go back to our Windows bat file, and I will edit this particular bat file, that is a Windows batch file, and at the end I will specify the --, reporters equal to CLI, comma, and we'll specify HTML extra. That's it, and I will save it, and I will close this particular file. So that's it. Again I will go back to the Jenkins now, and here I will simply click on build now, and there should be a 12th job running. I will click on this particular job now, and all our APIs and respective tests are running. and at the end we got the build success. And we can go back to our job, and here you can select the workspace here. And if you look at here, so there is a folder called newman. You can click on this newman, and if you look at here, so here you are finding the .html report. So you can directly click on this one and you can open it, but this report will be not so much visible properly, right? So what you can do, you can go to the Jenkins job and you can click on this all files in zip, so that it will download all your files, and simply I will open that particular zip file. So this is a zip file what we have downloaded just now, and I will open this file, and here we got the HTML report. Let's open this report, and if you look at this one, so same report we got it, right? So while executing the Postman collections from the command prompt, we are able to generate the newman HTML report, and same we are able to generate HTML report after executing our Jenkins job. So this is how you can execute the Jenkins job for the Postman collections. So let's build it once again, and so here we will be able to see the another report. So based on the date and time, so there is a 13th job is running, and if you look at here, so let's refresh this page, and if you look at here, there is another report got added, that is 8:16. So whenever you execute, it will add all the reports into this particular folder, that is a newman folder. So you can have the only latest HTML report. So for that you need to configure your Jenkins job a bit differently. You can go to the configuration of this Jenkins job, and after that you can go to the build environment. So inside this build environment, here there is one option. It will delete the old workspace before starting the current job. So you can select this first checkbox, that is delete workspace before build starts. That's it, and you can apply and save it. Now let's build this job again, and if you look at here, there is a 14th job is running. So after this execution, we should be able to see the only one HTML report inside the workspace. And if you look at this newman folder, and here we are able to see the only one HTML report. So this is how you can create the Jenkins job for the Postman collections execution, and also you can generate the newman HTML report in the Jenkins.